How exciting it is to be back in Hyphens Haven, the space for multi-hyphenate artists working on stage and off, in front of the camera and behind the scenes. We share our paths to becoming who we are. The spotlight turns to an artist known as a gifted drummer. He has been on world tours and has acclaimed endorsements by popular drum making companies such as Tama Drums, Vater Drums, Vater Drumsticks, West Tone, DB Drum Shoes, and Evans Drumheads. He has been seen on film and television productions like Tyler Perry's I Can Do Bad All By Myself, The Family That Prays, Aretha Franklin's Genius, BET's Sunday's Best, the Heisman Trophy Awards, and more. Additionally, he is a leader, having served as the president of the Recording Academy Atlanta chapter. More people know it as the Grammys, and music director for brands such as WSB TV, Salute to America, After 7, and Turner South with Ryan Cameron. In 2011, he founded How Big Is Your Dream, a nonprofit to encourage and mentor the next generation of artists interested in pursuing careers in entertainment. And I must add, this is the way that I connected to J Fly. So I am so happy to introduce to you the multi-hyphenate artist, Jorel J Fly Flynn. Hi, J Fly. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? I must say this is the first time I've been known as the multi-hyphenated artist. That's awesome. That is
because
awesome.
you are, because this show, we want to spotlight those people who wear more than one hat. And
Yeah.
sir, you do. So as we introduce you to the audience, we always start at the foundation. Would you share your parents, those who raised you, their names and professions? Oh, and where are you from?
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Waycross, Georgia. My mom and dad, mother and dad of 8 kids. I was the youngest of 8, and had both parents to raise me. Dad worked in an industrial situation, and my mom was the home caregiver. So a lot of things I figured out. A lot of things, I just had to do. But I'm so glad that I had the structure of both of them that were around to give me that balance and to really say, do it this way, try it this way. And some stuff that they didn't know, they steered me in a direction of resources and information.
Were you raised with siblings or particular close relatives with you?
I'm the youngest of 8, but my brothers and sister and being one sister, all of them are 1 to 2 years apart. And then I'm 9 years apart from all of them. So it kind of was raised as an only child because they were gone by the time I really got in the midst of needing and understanding. So yeah, I'm in the big family, but I came up pretty much as an only child.
Okay, well, let's go back to your early learning days. What elementary school did you attend? And was there a teacher who saw something special in you and wanted to nurture that talent from early on?
Well, Waycross, for those that may not know or may not have ever heard of Waycross, is a small, tight-knit, family-oriented Bible Belt city. I know that's a lot, but meaning everybody kind of knows everybody. The teachers know your parents personally, and they know your family. So all of the teachers that I experienced in my elementary school, McDonald Elementary School, played a part. Each one of them had different things that they gave me in the sense of nuggets of life. Nobody really stood out, and I had a diverse array of teachers from different ethnic backgrounds and race and religions, belief, but all of them had a true passion for wanting to see me to succeed. So I was able to take the buffet of information, knowledge, and wisdom and compile it into what you see and are listening to today.
Was there a particular memory from that time that basically laid the foundation for you to do what you do today?
Yes, I remember getting paddlings in school. That was the foundation that was laid. I know they don't experience that, but I remember getting paddlings in school. So here you go. You went to the principal's office, it was paddlings. So that was the foundation that was laid. And you can take the rest and understand what kept me helped me stay out of trouble. But paddling was a true form of discipline in school and at home.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They just structured and understand. And don't go past this line now. You go right.
Exactly.
Want to.
Exactly.
So yeah. As you think about now your middle school years, was there an experience from that time that really ushered in you playing the drums?
That's a great question. So what happens from K through 5 going to middle school is you take an assessment test to test your musical understanding. And I really wanted to be in band. I really wanted to play drums. And I tested so high on that assessment test that the band director told me I was too gifted to play drums and my ear was too good. So he placed me in the brass section playing tuba. And I had no interest or passion. I played tuba for about a year and it never escalated in my eyes to drums. So I lost an interest for, at that time, music education as a whole, because I felt like and this is honest, the band instructor placed me in his desires and not my own. So rather than him saying, this is going to be a component of broadening your understanding, he placed me what he needed. And I fell out of love with band and music education at that point.
Wow. Wow. Yep. So to go from that moment, and if you recall, you fell out of love, but what was it that brought you back to drums? What age were you when that happened, first off?
So going from 5th grade to 6th grade, so right in that, trying to find yourself and understand, who you are and kind of feeling yourself at the same time when you're really getting into the double-digit years. So with that, and I must say, as a kid, I had a weight problem, if you will, and a complex. So I was an overweight kid. So tuba, and I can talk about myself, me being a fat, chunky kid, wasn't sexy. So it really put me in a shell. And but I grew up in an era of, do as you told and don't ask questions. And it really put a lid over me even speaking my mind or my ideas. And it took me a long time to get, through that. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that you are thinking, okay, you're 6th grader, you have fallen out of love with music and being in the brass section. How long did it take for you to come back to drums?
So that was the era of parents telling you this is what you're going to do, and you had to do it. So I went to church. So I didn't have a choice of playing or not playing or being involved. So I still would play drums when I went to church. And because I liked it and because I could imitate my brothers and kind of be cool with them through playing drums, I would play at church. So that's how I kind of continued to hone in on my desire, my passion as related to drums. Just when I went to church, that's when I would play. And that's only the time that I played. I didn't have a drum set at home. I would play when I went to church. And that's what kept me interested in music and drums. And it was something that my mom said, you're going to do something. You're going to be active. You're not just going to show up and not do anything. So I continued to play the drums. I wasn't a pot and pan drummer that played at home or beat on the desk. I didn't do all that stuff. I only played when I was at 8 and at an instrument.
Wow. So since you only played drums at church, did you come back to playing them in high school since you couldn't do that? No, you couldn't do that.
I went and started playing football. I tried to play basketball. So just to be totally honest, I got into a lot of sports because I wanted to maintain or slim down. So I was really trying to be more active, and I started doing a lot of sports. So I got into basketball. Then I got into football. I really was just trying to fit in. Again, keep in mind, I'm the youngest of 8 and grew up kind of by myself in the sense of my siblings. So I was just trying to find my voice and my place and my destiny. So I tried a lot of different things other than getting back into band. So normally what happened with band, if you was in middle school, it was a feeder into the high school band. So once that happened in middle school, I was pretty much out of that whole get back in band idea.
Wow. What type of student were you? And was there a student that loved on you, saw your talent in a particular way? We love shouting out teachers on
Well,
this.
yeah, it was honestly, I had, just like if you're traveling, you have different mile markers on the road to let you know you're headed in the right direction. I had just different people that were God sent, and I would say angels, to kind of give me tidbits of information. It wasn't really like, so I know a lot of people have this one teacher that really took them under their wing. I did have a strong, parental system, so I didn't like really look for a lot of, external parental support. I just was mischievous. I'll say it like that. So I would have a lot of adults that would kind of steer me, even students that knew my parents. Some of the stuff that I would have gotten into back then, I don't know if it's as popular now. We would have a lot of skip days, and I'm not condoning, I'm just saying, telling my story. But a lot of stuff that my friends at the time, and I would call them friends because they would shield me from a lot of stuff that they were even doing. They would be like, nah, we can't get you involved in this. You go do something else, because nah, they would say, you gonna get it if you go home. So a lot of stuff that I would have gotten into, a lot of, protection came even when I resented it, but I appreciate it now. And I'm just thankful that a lot of people, whether it be friends that were my age or adults, saw more in me than I could see in myself at the time.
So how long after you graduated from high school did you stay in Waycross, or what was it that spoke to you and said, hey, it's time to make a move? What's happening?
I left the day after I graduated and had our senior dance. When the sun was coming up, I was getting in the car. If your imagery allow you to see the Beverly Hillbillies moving after the Texas Tea, that was me. I had, to be honest, I didn't even have a full luggage set. I had what I had. Everything else was wrapped up in the back seat. And my mom had saved money for me to get a Mazda GLC. It was a stick shift. And I drove that car not knowing if it would make it from Atlanta to Atlanta from Waycross. That was a 4-hour drive. And I drove it, and she was like, where are you? My brother was living in Atlanta working for the railroad, CSX. And she's like, where are you? And I say, I'm in Atlanta. She said, what? He didn't know if I was just coming for the summer. I graduated. I passed. I was so mischievous, y'all. I almost got suspended the last week of school. How you get suspended? And my principal, she looked at me and she just shook her head. She's like, they called me Flynn. And J Fly actually developed in high school when I was going between sports and trying to find my way. But she said, Flynn, how are you gonna get suspended? And it's your last week of school. But again, I wasn't bad. I would just try stuff. I would just do stuff. And I would always get my work though. I mean, when it came to getting work, and because I didn't want to repeat any grades, I wasn't about that. I don't want to repeat nothing. I'm the kid that if you gonna fall in that hole, I'm gonna say, I'm not. I'm gonna believe you fell in it. So I would always get my grades, and I did have a gift of being able, again, this is not condoning. This was before speed reading came out. I could read and skim and read the first paragraph and kind of gather the information on the context, and I would understand it enough to be able to pass my grades. And honestly, if I would have, and I took really good notes. Back then, the teachers would really go over the lessons and give you a lot of great notes. And I took great notes, and I could study my notes before the test, not at home, before the test. I'm giving all the bad, just the bad. This is J Fly story. So I'm not saying this is textbook to how to skate. I'm telling you my story. This is the podcast, right? So I'm supposed to tell you. So I would literally take good notes and I would be able to review them on the way to class. And I would make my grades, because if I brought bad grades home, that was nothing. No going out, no sports. I mean, it was repercussions back then. Now you might just get your phone taken. It was total lockdown. If I brought bad grades home, and this wasn't in an era where your parents were sitting with you, helping you with homework. It's like, okay, you get your work, you do this, you get that. If you bring a bad grade home, you're not playing anything. I don't care what coach say anything to me. You're not playing nothing. So that was pretty much it. It was A or B, no C, D, or E. So I would definitely do a lot of things, again, when I look back on it, it was ways I was just crying out for attention and trying to figure it out. But work and doing my lessons and making sure my stuff was turned in on time, that was never the problem. It was after the lesson was turned in was my problem. But I'm appreciative that I didn't get caught up in too much that would have warranted me being out of a lot of opportunities that I've been availed today.
And see, don't sell yourself short, because that is such a skill to gather information quickly and present it as if you mastered it. Because being a world traveler, you have had to gather things very quickly and to know what to do with this information. So yeah, don't sell yourself short. That's a skill.
You're absolutely right. And that's probably why I'm able to see and hear conversations in the marketplace now and really extract, okay, this is what they're saying. Yeah.
That's good stuff. So now that you have arrived in Atlanta, you have settled, what is that next point that's pulling you forward with playing drums?
The next point, honestly, after I bounced around from job to job, and it's not like I'm bouncing around from corporate job. I mean, McDonald's, UPS, like Foot Locker is just bare minimal, stay out of trouble stuff. My brother, he mentioned to me, because I had a niche for electronics, and I was always good with my hands. I would connect a lot of the car systems back in the day. A lot of people would have these mega car systems in their car. And he said, you should just go to school for electronics before you blow somebody's car up. At least you can understand what you're doing. And I would play drums from time to time. I will say I didn't practice drumming until I was in school. And at the time I was at a technical institute studying electronic technology. And drumming was always something. It's honestly kind of like me studying for my test. I could hear it and I could see it and visualize it. If you guys have ever seen the movie Drumline and the young guy that couldn't read but could always play back what he heard, that's kind of how I would be. And, it was a crutch, but it also was a gift at the same time. And it wasn't until I really started taking my gifting seriously and started to see that this is something that was given to me to sustain me. And I really started to get more involved in drums. So I started playing for a lot of community choirs and, picking up little open mics. And I never got involved for money. It was because the feeling and the voice that it gave me, because I didn't really have a voice other than, just stuff I would say to try to get some laughs here and there. But drumming was something and music was something that people really paid attention to when they heard and saw the passion that I demonstrated from behind the kit.
So you're studying electronics and you're playing at open mics and for community choirs. Mm-hmm. Where was that moment that you played and somebody had to hear you and say, whoa, now, what are you doing? And I think you need to come over here. What was that moment?
And it happened. I hate to say, oh, I don't hate to say it. It happened 3 times in my career. I was playing at an open mic, and an artist at the time that I'm now a music director for was sitting at the edge of the stage and turned around and asked another musician, "Who is that on drums? I want them in my band." Another time it happened, I was playing at a 7 a.m. service, and I had never played really, quote unquote, at the time, what is known as jazz and secular music. And I was going so hard in that 7 a.m. service, didn't know that it was an artist in the audience that specifically came to hear me play. But again, anytime I got a chance to do what I was doing, I was giving it my all because of the feeling and the fulfillment that I got from playing music. And after that, it was like, we need to get your number. Have you ever did shows? I was like, no, this ain't about a show. This is about how I feel. And one other chance I got, the major chance that really pushed me into my destiny was when I was in school and got an opportunity to go on my first tour with an artist at the time named is Kelly Price. And that opened me up to the whole destiny of what, has me talking to you today about my life and my story and on your podcast. That really pushed me into this is destiny for me.
What year was that working with Kelly Price?
I don't remember the year. I will say it was right after she had stopped singing with Ron Isley at the time and started going more into her solo career. And Kelly, the record labels at the time, was putting a lot of money and a lot of things behind her as an artist and as a solo artist. And I got called in to do her first tour.
Wow. So now that you're playing with Kelly, are you still enrolled in college or still enrolled?
So this is where it got tricky. So I did that tour. And again, my destiny was really understood and awakened in me. I came back and I had 1 semester left. I would have had a degree, would have had a degree in electronic technology. But from there, for anybody that understands when your destiny and your understanding of why you exist is really, really awakened, you don't really need anybody to confirm that, because nobody can confirm the feeling that you get from fulfillment. And I never finished. Literally, y'all, I tell you, I had 1 semester, I would have had a degree, and I was in school for free. I was on a scholarship. And I had all my grades. I excelled in my academics because I understood. For one, I never really liked seeing bad grades. And for two, I would do what was necessary to get my work done. And like you said, the skill set of being able to see stuff and kind of skim, but you couldn't do that with electronics. You really had to study electronics because it was all about equations and Ohm's law and understanding, series versus parallel and resistance. And so you couldn't skate on that stuff or you'd blow somebody up or hurt yourself. So with that being said, I came back from that tour and I really tried to stay focused, but I was distracted by my destiny and went from there. Started working on something with Montel Jordan. He was working on a live show, and from Montel Jordan, I went and did a tour with Ann Nesby and Al Green, and from there, television stuff started to come my way, and from there, it just really snowballed. And it's a testimony to you really understanding when that thing is awakening you. And when nobody can explain to you what you're feeling, that's where How Big Is Your Dream was birthed. And how big is your dream is that question that only you can answer. But that's not just a question. That's an action that goes behind once you ask yourself, how big is my dream? Once you answer it, everything after that is putting action behind pulling that dream into reality.
So like I said earlier, you are a multi-hyphenate to juggle these things. And that's something that I love about this show. And I've interviewed other artists. And when I say that you are a multi-hyphenate, I mean, look at the journey that you've made. Look at the hats you've worn, and you have worn those with excellence. So you're receiving and accepting these offers to work with these amazing artists on tour and TV and whatnot. What was that moment that put you towards becoming the president of the Recording Academy for Atlanta?
Well, with that, I started to see a lot of the things that I didn't know about the industry, a lot of the things that I didn't know about reading music and how I'm built. Once I understand what it is I am to do, and this is one thing I tell a lot of adults as well as the next generation when I'm giving speeches, is you never escape education. It's the thing of understanding that education always surrounds talent. And once you understand what your craft is or what that thing is you do, and that's not just the arts, that's, you know, in anything from law to doctor, you have to love it, and you have to love the education side of it if you're going to keep growing in it. And for me, from learning how to become an engineer, learning, you know, music theory, I went back to school and got my degree in music theory as well as music business from Berklee School of Music. So the whole Recording Academy was another component of me getting involved in the organization that really dictates the things that we abide by in the music industry. And I came in to really get an understanding, not knowing that it was going to become a whole another institution of learning for me. So I came in because I was working with this high school as I was on a committee, an education committee, and I'd been asked many times about joining. I never really saw interest until it became interesting to me, and interesting that aided the things that I was a part of. And How Big Is Your Dream really fueled my interest. And I said, I need to learn more about the business of entertainment. And coming in on that committee, I went from committee member to a governor, well, committee member to advisor of the board, from advisor of the board to a governor, from a governor to vice president. I ran for that position uncontested, and then, you know, served as the president for 2 terms uncontested. And that energy that I put into Record Academy, I started to pass along to the next generation. And even a lot of artists still call me and ask me about things from the Grammys. And I'm still associated and I still work alongside, but it really was a way for me to continue to learn more about this industry that I work in.
So, wow. So being able to transition back to school full time, right?
While touring.
While touring. So, wow, that is amazing that you were able to do that. Wow, just to think about while touring is that the phrase. You're now working in that space with the Grammys and learning so much about that. Was there a particular challenging moment that you had to get through in these positions?
Well, first of all, going back to school while touring was challenging by itself, because I gave myself every reason why I couldn't succeed. I was like, man, you hadn't done this in so long, you hadn't done that. But again, that burning that I felt in my room while I was out on the road, that you need to go back and equip yourself with the information of the next level that you're going, I couldn't deny it, and I couldn't run away from it. And it was like a lot of, you know, colleges have gateway classes or classes that you have to take to open up the next portal of things that you need. I had to go through that door of education for myself. So with that, I'm glad I did. I graduated with a 3.96 GPA from Berklee, but nothing was given. It was all earned, but it was fueled by a desire to want to better myself and not, you know, accept, you know, I can't do it or I'm too busy, because school for me wasn't for me to acquire more money or acquire more prosperity. My career was already established. It was something I needed for me for understanding to be able to go into this next phase of what my career is.
Incredible. So would you mind sharing with us, now that you work with so many different types of artists, what is your process of work? What is it that like to have a day in the life of Jay Fly?
It's a schedule. And really school helped me develop that schedule, as well as during the pandemic. because I was still in school during the pandemic, and a lot of universities, as you know, went online. And so for me, not being on the road, I had to schedule a lot of things so I just wouldn't become dormant. I was nervous just like everybody else during the pandemic, but I found other things that would keep me focused. So a day in the life of Jay Fly, I wake up, I read, I meditate, I work out, I check emails, and this is all with times, allotted. It is a work schedule. And then when I'm learning music and rehearsing in my studio or working with artists, I have to build my time and my schedule around the work, so work don't consume me, because I have little ones, meaning kids, and I'm a family man as well. So I have to allot a lot of time for a lot of things, but it happens because I schedule. I'm not ever just chilling. If I'm chilling, it'll schedule chill. And I have times that I have, like, I could be in my studio because I do so much in my studio, and I work so much from my studio, whether that's making tracks or sending out files, that I can be home for 2 and 3 days at a time. And I have to, like, sometimes I have to just go outside and walk around so I can make sure that I embrace, the things that I've been availed. And I got into the gardening. I got into raising chickens, and I mean,
What?
I know it's like, yeah, I mean, it was things that I needed to do that was so different from music. But I'm very, very, very different and uncalculated, but I'm simple at the same time. And with that being said, it is very rewarding for me to know that my destiny lies in my hands truly, but it lies in my hands because of the decisions that I make.
Wonderful. So as a drummer, are there particular tools that you need? You mentioned going to the studio. For those who really want to follow in your footsteps, becoming a drummer, are there specific tools that are required for you to do your work?
Yeah, well, like you read in the beginning, I do have endorsements, and with that, that's just a result of the hard work. I never really got into music for instruments to be given to me, or me not to have to pay for this or to get on this next biggest tour. I just worked hard because I love being better, and I want to be better for me, not, the next person. One thing about competition, which I never got into, competition off, it will expose your weaknesses, and it will show you the things that you can do and the things that you was dope at. You're like, oh, I'm not as dope as I thought I was. And so with that, aside from having, the things that you need to make music, I'm just always learning. It's so much music out there that my friends, my peers, the music that I'm learning becomes filters of me keeping up with what's next. And a lot of times I'm learning music based on the shows that I'm playing, but it also becomes a river, if you will, of me listening to more styles of that music that will help me be more efficient. So if I'm learning Afro beats for the new music, I'll take a deeper dive in listening to music from Africa so I can really hear where it originates. Or if I'm, working with a country artist, which I do, I've recorded country records just like any other genre. I take a deeper dive in understanding that genre so I can be more authentic to it. And, it keeps me alive, keeps me innovative, and keeps me learning.
Is there a particular goal that you have as a professional? I mean, granted, you've been a world traveler. Yeah. What is your professional goal? Because there's still more dreaming and more levels to ascend to.
Yeah. Well, right now, I will say there's no artist that I wanted to work with that I hadn't. The only artist that I didn't get a chance to really work with was Michael Jackson, but I just had his brother Tito Jackson to come and be a guest for our How Big Is Your Dream soundtrack in American music this past February. I worked with Aretha Franklin, and Prince produced the song that she sang on her last record before she passed. During the pandemic, I recorded music for The Temptations. I MD, that's meaning music director for most of the artists that I've ever played drums for. And again, I don't ever get in a situation profiling this is what I do, but people, they notice hard workers. Just like how I met you through a professor that suggested you to me because of your work ethic and your passion for what you do. And again, that's how things happen. I've never had to audition for anything that I've been a part of, just the word of mouth. And that is something I feel like if you focus on the product or you focus on the talent, that's just a metaphor. Everything will come that will support your hard work. A lot of people, they focus on the results of the product versus focusing on the product. And I focus on the product. And when the opportunities come, I'm prepared because I'm always focusing and trying to be better myself. Now I'm in a situation where I deal a lot with elected officials, and that's from the mayors, all the way through to commissioners and government officials. I worked on the Music Modernization Act for the Recording Academy, and I was at the White House speaking on laws and legislation for the music industry. But again, it's so many things, and now I guess that hyphenated word comes to light because it's like J-Fly ... etc.
Yes.
And again, I study when I was working a lot to try to be more efficient at talking in front of large crowds. I read the Bible aloud. I read the old King James Version to help me struggle through a lot of those words and the terms that's in the Bible. And I work, and a lot of times you'll still hear my Southern, Waycross come out, but I make no apologies because that's who I am authentically. But when it comes to engaging in information and wisdom and knowledge, I know what I know. And the things that I don't know, I go work on and study, and I ask professionals. I have a passion for the arts. I have a passion for drama. But I'm not an actor or actress, obviously. But Drea is, and she's very good at it. And I will ask Drea to come and join forces with me because I know she's great at what she's done. And that's what I do. I try to always surround myself by innovative thinkers and those that are not scared to keep being innovative, even in their successes.
Wow, thank you. I'm over here blushing. Like,
yeah, awesome.
Talk about me. But yeah, I've seen you. I mean, you, sir, work, and I just enjoy being around people who are like-minded and share similar passions and want to help children become their best. So yes, I applaud all the things that you're doing. That's why I wanted to bring you on so that you can share your journey, because you are that guy. And we're going to move to the last segment, which is some of them are just quick response, fun questions, and it helps us get to know you a little bit better. So I'll ask these questions and you can just give a reply. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Window or aisle seat?
Owl.
What book would you give as a gift?
Rudiments.
You said that with a smile.
Rudiments. The basis of anything. Rudiments.
All right. What movie can you not resist watching if it came on right now?
Coming to America.
Yes. Favorite recipe to cook?
Hot dogs.
Wait, you don't?
I said hot dogs.
Oh. So you make chili dogs, or
I can't mess up hot dogs.
Oh. So what is the thing that makes you laugh the most? Because I love laughter.
Myself.
Okay. What sound or noise do you especially love to hear?
Silence.
Silence. What would be your theme song or ring entrance song when you enter a room for people to say, this is J-Fly entering?
Superfly.
Yes. If you could choose one superpower, what would it be?
Make change by touch.
All right, y'all go look up Make Change by Touch. Who is your favorite person to follow on social media?
Ooh. Hmm. I'm sorry. I know this ain't no one answer. It depends on what part of me. I listen to preachers. I listen to
Share.
business. Okay, so I listen to TDJ, Joel Osteen, and Joyce Myers. I listen to a lot of legacy drummers from the Buddy Riches to Evan Jones and Tony Williams, and I'll find myself just listening at music as it comes on, multi genres. I have a hard time listening to music that has a lot of explicit content in it. Even if I like the beat, if the lyrics are really explicit, it's a challenge for me because that becomes a gateway to my continence. So I have a challenge with it.
Okay. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
My low tolerance for imperfection.
Low. I can identify with that. I be wanting stuff to be right. Just do it right, like now.
And that is not to say that people can't make mistakes, but it's when you make mistakes and you're not trying. That's a pet peeve of mine.
I agree.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, America and world, but that is.
This is Jay Fly, right?
Yes.
So when you think of the word successful, who is the first person that comes to mind?
Mom and dad.
Blessing to your parents who have raised an amazing son. And if you could offer yourself one piece of advice, and this could be an advice for those who are listening, what would it be? Your younger self,
My younger self, stay in band. My older self, plan vacations.
Plan for vacations.
Yes.
That's good, people, because those y'all who are listening, we can work, but we got to fit time in to refresh ourselves. Yeah. So that's some good advice. Plan for vacations. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
This gonna sound funny. Bull riding.
What?
Yeah. I think it's something very intriguing about a person that'll get on the back of a bull for 7 to 8 seconds and try not to fall off. Yeah.
What a unique answer. Yes, thank you. This makes you even more multifaceted. Bull riding as a profession. Okay, I'm gonna jump from drumming to bull riding. That's what's up.
All right.
What profession would you never like to try?
Extreme sports, like when they climb mountains to the top peak and just hanging by a cord. Nah.
Yeah, that ain't for you.
That's not for me. No.
Cool beans. So as we are moving to the last final thoughts, what projects are in the future for you?
In the immediate future, I'm working with artists this weekend at a festival called Sea Breeze Jazz Festival. And in the extended future, I often find myself working with classic artists in reimagining their future careers. A lot of these artists have had success in their younger days, and now they're looking to be excited again about the music industry. And for me, I just want to get better with music, better with mixing music, understanding music theory. So it's always ongoing. I just need to learn how to shut off sometimes, like hit the focus button on your phone and shut off. But data is always coming in. That's a hard thing for me. Like it's not a water fountain, it's a fire hydrant. And it's like like zeros and ones and binary code. I wish I could see Jorel's face as she's listening to me. She's like,
but as I'm making the faces over here.
Right. This need to be a visual.
Now the goal is to one day be able to get in the studio and I have multi cameras and we can see each other. But right now this is ground floor. This is just me connecting folks that I know would like to know about careers in entertainment to the people I know. So this is just me on the bottom level. But in the future, if it grows, if I'm helping and serving people, sure, let's get in the studio so we see each other.
These facial expressions by themselves is entertaining.
Speaking of, like, what did you enjoy most about today?
I enjoyed most seeing you learn more about me. You've been knowing me for years, but I could tell it was some things that you was like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Like, wow, and that's always exciting when a person is learning and hearing the novel side of you versus the magazine side of you. A lot of people they see me as a magazine because of the work I do and the work that's publicized. But when individuals takes time to really have a conversation, and it's a lot longer than 5 or 10 minutes, then you begin to unveil, like, wow, I didn't know you did all that aside from sitting behind the drum set.
See, like I said, multi-hyphenate. You just gonna go ahead and get that stuck in your head.
I know, right?
Yes. So I have two more questions for
Okay.
you. The first one is, would you like to give some shout outs to loved ones or people who have been supportive of you along your journey?
Yes, I would like to give a shout out to the How Big Is Your Dream staff, those next generation of artists, as well as the volunteers and the partners and the ones that helped me push my dream of the foundation forward. I also like to give a shout out to my family, my brothers and my sister, of course, my mom and dad, and my right hand that helps me with pretty much everything and see a lot of the hardships, and that's Christy Flynn. She really helps me out in a whole lot of multifaceted things. I want to give a shout out to my kids because they get to see their dad struggle through a lot of stuff. They got to see me struggle through school and be frustrated with school and want to give up. But I was able to be an example for them that even though it's hard, I couldn't quit. And then they saw those grades come in. And it's like, Dad, you did it. And, there's no short step in math. As much as I don't like math, you might have other ways to get to it, but either you're going to do it or you're not, because the finite it get, especially when you're dealing with things that if you're decibel off, it affects the whole thing. I really have an appreciation for those that love numbers. I'm not the numbers guy when it comes to math, but I forced and trained myself to understand it. And, they got a chance to see their dad not take the short route, and that meant a lot for me, for them to see the things that I tell them, I apply to myself. So those are my shout outs.
I love it. And let me tell you, I mean, his family is amazing. His staff is incredible. And I'm blessed to be connected to him. And it's a joy to hear all of the amazing people that you just gave a shout out to. And final question, how can people learn more about you or follow you on social media?
Everything is simple. So for social media, How Big Is Your Dream, or HBIYD. Those are just the initials for How Big Is Your Dream. And for JFly is 1JFly, the number 1 JFLY, no space, no hyphen. That's where the hyphen don't come in. It's JFLY, 1JFLY, and How Big Is Your Dream. And that aligns my for-profit, my artistry, as well as the foundation.
All right, folks, we have come to the end of today's Spotlight. If this podcast has helped you, please share. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Dream of Drea across all social media platforms. My name is Drea of Dream of Drea, a production company specializing in driving your ideas from pages to stages and from your dreams to screens. Remember, wherever you are right now is the perfect time to act on your dreams. Thanks again to Jorel J. Fly Flynn for joining us. And we will connect with you all later. Take care, everybody.